Precinct 1, Place 2. It's going to be Joe Evans and Benjamin Collins Sr. Did Ben show up? Collins? Okay. Well.
You win.
All right. Has anybody seen Ben Collins? He did say he's going to be here. I just want to make sure he's not sitting out there. We didn't catch him. Okay. All right. Sounds good.
Thank you, Mr. Evans. We're going to give you a minute to introduce yourself. And then I'd also like to ask you, if you could in that time as well, just ask you about how you would plan to educate the public about services provided by a justice court.
All right. Appreciate it. What's your name?
My name is Porter.
Porter?
Yeah,
Nice to meet you, Porter.
Nice
Thanks
to
for
meet
the question.
you too.
So my name is Joe Evans, and I'm your candidate for Justice of the Peace, Precinct 1, Place 2. And, you know, beyond being a candidate, I'm a dad. I'm a grandpa. My grandbaby's here, so she's getting the early introduction into politics. So that's one way we're going to educate people. We're going to get them involved early. But above all, the JP Court is a people's court, and it's a court that's very much the same as, you know, a city councilman or a school board member, other than the fact that you deliberate over local disputes between family members, sometimes neighbors. A lot of evictions go through that court. Class C misdemeanors go through that court. Not as many as that probably need to go through that court because we kind of take a cavalier attitude to Class C, but it's just being about being an active member of the community and staying, you know, present.
I have a question for you. You mentioned education. How do you plan to educate the people about what your court does?
So the same thing I do now. Most people that know me know I stay very active and involved in the community, whether it be my service on the school board or the multiple nonprofit organizations that I work for or oversee. It's just about being present. And once again, it's a people's court, so you have to be present. You have to be present. You have to be present. And so, you know, you teach people by showing up and answering the hard questions and doing exactly, you know, what the job calls for.
So I have a question. And thank you for the great description you gave of what the court does, because it's one of the offices that I think people probably learn less about in this room. It's Justice of the Peace. You'll handle truancy cases through truancy court. Rather than just issuing fines to parents, are there any specific diversion programs or community partnerships, proactive measures that you would implement to address those root causes of chronic school absences?
Yes, absolutely. Thanks for asking that, Drew. So one of the things I'm really focused on is a teen court program where teens are judged by a jury of their peers, you know, students that volunteer to take part in the teen court program. It's not a new program. We don't need to reinvent the wheel. You know, I've traveled across the state to witness that program in other jurisdictions, and it definitely pays dividends, and it reduces what Judge Freeze and I see every day in the juvenile court. It reduces those high-level crimes because you're teaching people how to be accountable for their actions early on. So, you know, there are some resources available that we can plug kids into. It's not about criminalizing people. It's about making sure that people make the right decisions. So the diversion programs where you can defer some of those Class C misdemeanors and still consequence people for their wrongdoings are definitely some of the things I want to focus on doing.
Back on, absolutely. I was going to ask you to expand. You talked about some involvement in some local nonprofit organizations. I was just going to give you a chance to expand on what some of your more refined interests are.
So that last part, my interest? Yeah. Oh, man, I love Beaumont. I love Jefferson County. So I serve as board president for the Habitat for Humanity. You know, I work for 2 nonprofits that mentor and serve at-risk youth. I'm on the state Alzheimer's Commission. I don't even know where to, you know, begin or end. Just my life is dedicated to community and public service. You can ask my kids, you know, ever since my wife passed in 2017, that's what I've been married to is my community. So you won't find another public servant that works hard as me. And I'm not just blowing my own horn. I really live the life. So it means a lot to me. The work I do at juveniles is deeply personal. And, you know, when I take this seat, you know, I'll bring that same work ethic and passion and love to this bench, and I look forward to doing it.
I do believe that the youth does need a lot of love and compassion, but how do you balance that with accountability?
Well, that's another good question. First, our youth don't really understand personal responsibility and accountability. So the youth I work with, sometimes the only time they get a consequence is when it's too late. It's when I see their knees buckle because the judge just told them 20, 30, 40, 50 years. And so I think that this lower court needs to be more proactive and back on the front lines in terms of doing intervention work, because a Class C misdemeanor today is a state jail felony tomorrow if it's ignored. And too many times we take a cavalier attitude to the small things, and our kids don't learn to be responsible in the larger things. And so you may throw out a small bag of marijuana today, but 5 years from now, the same person's got a trunk full of marijuana on I-10, and now it's a crisis. So it's how you hold people accountable today, which will have an impact on how they live their lives later on.
All right, we have a question from the audience. As a JP, you deal with a lot of traffic violations. What are your thoughts on flock and other mass surveillance being used, especially in lieu of recent issues with abuse and those systems getting it wrong?
So, Drew, I'm going to step out on a limb right now and be very vulnerable about the flock cam. So when I was on the school board, I voted yes to access to cameras and flock cameras in real time. And it plagued me, because on one hand, it is a public safety issue where you want to make sure that the community is safe and that we're catching criminals, but at the same time, you want to preserve people's rights. So there's some Fourth Amendment issues in there that I still struggle with in terms of the flock cameras, because you have to preserve people's rights as a judge. You know, it's not my role to say you're wrong or right. It's my role to follow the law and to make sure that your rights are upheld. So I understand the flock cameras. I want to do some more work with the PD and the legal community on how we should be using those, so to make sure that we're not violating people's, rights and surveilling and spying on people. It's a right and a wrong way to do things. And while me and you may have good intentions when the flock camera is installed, who knows what's going to happen 3, 4, 5, 10 years from now when someone says, I'm going to use this camera just to surveil my enemy or my political opponent. And so that's where the line kind of blurs for me. I've been asked to do ride-alongs with the PD. I won't do them, because I believe that the two worlds do not come together. As a judge, you have to be a judge. You can't be judge and law enforcement. So I kind of keep those two worlds separate intentionally. The juveniles I work for, I make it abundantly clear that I'm not law enforcement. I don't work for the state. I work for you. And so I want to make sure that whatever I'm doing, I'm protecting people's rights and upholding the law.
I'm going to warn you that hat makes it look like you're law enforcement. I'm just saying.
I do have another question for you. The justice of the peace, are they 24 hours a day, 7 days a week? Tell us about how you balance that workload, because it does seem excessive.
So it's been a long time since I've had one job. So the balance will be easy. And in some cases, it is a 24-hour job. If you look at a situation like you talk about being a law enforcement, is it because the sweat makes me nervous? But anyways, it's hot up here, and I'm always hot. But anyways, I lost my train of thought. Ask that question again. Oh, the 24-hour part. Yeah. So you could be in a 24-hour situation because you have inquest. If someone dies in the middle of the night, you have to be on the scene to do a judicial inquiry, which is an inquest that looks into how the person died. If you wake up on Saturday morning and you're doing magistration work, you have to set bonds for people. So you do find yourself working around the clock, but, that's what being a people's court judge is all about. You work for the people. And so if you don't have the vibrance or energy to do it, then you shouldn't do it. But as long as you can and you feel passionate about it, you should. So I've never ran away from work. In fact, I've taken the jobs that nobody else has wanted, and that's what's made me so successful. So I love everything about it.
Would you like to, just 30 seconds for anything that you'd like to share with folks before we close out?
Yeah, Drew, thanks. So here's the deal. Whether it be in sports, politics, business, or life, there's no such thing as staying the same. The minute you find yourself staying the same is the minute you find yourself allowing the world to pass you by. I know for a fact for the last 8 years, this court has done nothing but stay the same. Does it have hardworking staff? Absolutely. Do they care about their jobs? Absolutely. But when you find yourself in this world staying the same, you can count on yourself getting worse. And so we always want to get better. Jefferson County deserves a hardworking lower court that truly serves the people. And I'm the person to do it, so I'd appreciate your support. I love you all very much. Thanks for taking your time out and listening to me. and vote for me in November. Thank you.
Thank you, Joe. We appreciate you coming.